webcam on this.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll just start in another 3-4 minutes, right?
Yes, sir. And I will be the host for this session now. And I will give you a small introduction about yourself as a speaker, and then we will proceed with the session, sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
everyone. We will wait for another couple of more minutes. We are expecting few more participants to join the session. Let's begin the session after 2 to 3 minutes, please.
Guys, that literally just on Friday this happened. I know when I came back, then I told him. I came back at 2 also.
Welcome back, everyone. Here we are in our final session of the 1 week faculty development program on outcome-based education, organized by Institute for Engineering Research and Publication in association with United Innovators, Asia Pacific Association for Dental and Oral Health, Krishna Institute of Dental Sciences, and New Horizon College of Engineering. Topic for this session is to define and connect outcome-based education for students and budding professionals using simple philosophical tools. Before getting into the session, I would like to introduce the speaker of this session, Professor Dr. Suman Majumder. He is a senior research and management professional with more than 20 years of experience in various industry sectors, including pharmaceutical, polymer, FMGC, packaging, and agrochemical. He has hands-on experience in setting up and managing research operations, product-based research, and analytic functions, and contributing strategical to the all-over business and institutional growth. Over the years, he has completed multiple patentable innovations, having several publications, and applied for 18 patents in different kinds of products and technologies. He has led multiple teams and projects with experienced scientists, implemented new technologies, and worked on a global scale with research and manufacturing counterparts across the globe. Other key areas of expertise includes an aptitude of linking innovations to business, internal and external stakeholder management, and managing large-scale operations. He has contributed to the overall performance of the product portfolio by introducing groundbreaking formulations and innovating patentable products and process. He has the acumen to create team synergy between management, functional resources, and research scientists. He has appeared and presented reports on possible business and marketing strategies around the innovations and enhancement to assist senior leaders in informed decision making. He has been an active member of the strategy leadership team in his last few organizations, including Sigma Aldrich, Unilever, L. Oral, Avery Dickinson, and Bajaj Consumer Care. He held a doctoral fellowship with late Professor Alan Katsky at the University of Florida and a PhD from the University of Calcutta. From Center for Advanced Studies under the dictatorship of late Professor Asima Chatterjee, he is a fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry, a member of American Chemistry Society, and a life member of the Indian Chemical Society. We welcome you, sir. The session is now yours.
Thank you, Krishnamohan, for your kind introduction, although it's a big introduction. Okay, let me share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Is the slide mode active?
Yes, it is active.
Okay. Okay, so welcome all. I think it's a Sunday afternoon and evening, to be more precise. And I'm here to actually connect the objective-based education for students and budding professionals using simple philosophical tools. So what I understood is that it's very important for students and teachers as well to understand the curriculum and how the curriculum can be made more flexible, more objective than what we usually follow, which is more like a like something which is given to us, and we do mechanically go through the curriculum instead of without understanding the ultimate goals or objective uh, of the education. And here we will be discussing a little bit about how this thing can be changed and how it can be made more objective, more the learning can be more fun, and learning can be more useful and uh, quite helpful for the students, uh, as well as for some professionals who are going into the industry, just graduating from the student life to a professional life. So just before we start, I want to give you tell you about a story. Now this story is about a pond which was there in a township, and there are a lot of fishes in the pond, and these fishes out of these fishes, many were very curious about what is happening outside on the land, and hence they discuss from time to time how we can go onto the land and can get some more information about what is going on there. They were very curious about what is happening on the land, and there are a group of fishes who once decided that they want to understand more about the land, and then they decided that they will go onto the land and will find out what is happening. So a group of fishes, they just jumped on the land, and then they died, obviously. So uh, what is happening in today's world, when uh, we are learning through a particular curriculum, we are not able to get the best out of it, because even much before we get the outcome, we perish, and it's of no use. So another group of fish, they learned from this whole incident, and then they decided that they will find out a innovative way or a more flexible way through which they will survive. At the same time, they will learn about what is going on the land. So this group, which was more intelligent, they decided that they will just, in groups, they will just jump vertically up, and each fish will get a glimpse of something or the other on the land. They will come back down into the water, they will discuss, and they will find out what is happening, and will paint a very good picture about the land. So here they have actually defined the objective very well, that our main objective is to learn, and there is a process, that there may be a flexible process by which I can learn and I will not perish. So just a small story, but it will, if you step back and think, this is what is happening. And what is happening is that in reality, what is happening, we are not defining the why we should do something, why we should go for a particular type of uh, topic to learn, and like that. We are just jumping on what and how. So there is a delink between what is what is required and how it is required, because we are not defining the why with passion. So in order to be successful, and in order to be learning uh, in a very objective way, we should first define the why with a lot of passion. And then you should actually think about how and what. Rather, you should think about what. Once you define the why, you should define more what, more or less the final learning objective, and then how. Define a 360-degree approach, connect all the dots, and try to see uh, what are the resources you have at your disposal. So establish a conviction about your learning objective is the first step. And how mapping of all the factors, even before that, you should be very convinced about what you want to do in the end. That is, you want to have a winning learning experience for yourself, and for that you should map all the factors like the networks, the partners, the actions, your resources, teachers, friends, ecosystem, the competition, more with a less approach, and things like that. So this is how I think you will have a better learning rather than just following a particular curriculum blindly. Now, why it is important to know the outcome prior to the planning and teaching? Why? Why is the most important question you should ask? Why should they learn it? They should learn it because they will get motivated out of it. They will get a lot of motivation, and from that motivation will come a lot of passion about learning. And so, if I know what is my learning outcomes, then I will be having a very structured strategy, a teaching strategy, a learning strategy, um, uh, and also an assessment strategy to understand that how much I am learning, and then do course corrections also in case I find that I am not uh, uh, getting the best objective outcome of my learning. So that's how you make it more flexible and you learn more through a very smart strategy. Now, what is outcome-based education? There are a lot of people who have actually defined outcome-based education. Outcome-based education is an educational theory that bases each part of the educational system around goals. Goals are nothing but the outcomes. By the end of the educational experience, student should have achieved these goals or the objectives, and it's it should be very well defined and well articulated, so that they know that we have achieved 100% of it, and I will be able to use whatever I learned in my practical ways in during my day-to-day activities. There is no specified style for teaching or assessment in objective-based education. Instead, classes, opportunities, and assessment should be designed in such a way to help students achieve their specified outcomes. Some experts' perspective on OBE, an approach that focuses and organizes the educational system around what is essential for all learners to know, value, and be able to achieve a desired level of competence. Now, this word competence is very important because unless you learn objectively, unless you absorb whatever you're learning, your competence level will not improve. And if you learn blindly, if you learn in such a way so that your education is not being valued, then you will be nowhere. All learners can learn and succeed, but not on the same day or in the same way. Now, this is also very interesting because objective-based education makes it very flexible. So all the students will not have the same kind of aptitude or same kind of competence from the beginning. So the teachers have the flexibility to articulate in such a way so that it becomes a very objective for all the students in the class or all the students in the same batch. Success breeds success, and schools control the condition for success. So, in this objective-based education, the overall institutional goals are also kind of linked to the goals of individual students and teachers and others. A means of describing the attributes of the ideal graduate based on their visions and missions as part of their institutional goals or outcomes, and using these as basis for developing specific program outcomes. Now, means if I'm running a applied chemistry or an industrial chemistry course, the outcomes of the program should drive the learning, and that learning will be objectively defined towards very competent professionals who will be joining those industries. So that's how institution can make a big impact on course and curriculum and the career of the students. How it happens? So it should follow some process, because anything which is objective needs a process and a very clear definition. So first step is clarity. The focus on outcomes creates a clear expectation of what needs to be accomplished by the end of the course. Students will understand what is expected of them, and the teachers will know what they need to teach during the course in order to achieve those objectives. Second point and step 2 is flexibility. With a clear sense of what needs to be accomplished, instructors will be able to structure their lessons around the students' needs. OBE does not specify a specific method of instruction or a very, very stringent curriculum to be followed. Syllabus needs to be completed on time, leaving instructors free to teach their students using any method. It can be a practical method, it can be a demo, it can be a prototype building, anything. And that may actually drive towards the main objective and the learning objective during OBE. Comparison is very important. OBE provides an opportunity for comparison across institutions. On an individual level, the institution can look at what outcomes a student has achieved to decide what level the student would be within a new institution. So within the institutions, there can be a comparative level of understanding, or institution can compare themselves by checking to see what outcomes they have in common, and find places where they may need improvement or work in synergy, and based on the achievement of the outcomes at other institutions. So comparison is always very important tool in OBE. And the fourth and most important is the passion and involvement. Students are expected to do their learning so that they can gain a full understanding of the material. Increased student involvement allows students to feel responsible for their own learning, and they should learn more through this individual learning. Now, the four essential principles to be followed in order to achieve these 4 steps are clarity of focus, designing back because you do a retro planning, high expectations from the teachers, and expanded opportunities. Clarity of focus is about outcomes. Teachers must have a clear focus on what they want their students to be able to do successfully. Teachers' planning should be focused on helping the students to develop knowledge, skills, and dispositions in a way that the students will be able to ultimately achieve the already outlined outcomes. The second important principle is designing backwards. All instructional decisions are made by tracing back from where this desired end result and identifying the building block of learning that students must achieve in order to eventually reach long-term outcomes. So retro planning basically. And then consistent, how do you make it sustainable? So consistent high expectations of success by teachers. Teachers must establish high and challenging performance standards in order to encourage students to engage deeply with the issues they're learning. And then expanded opportunities. Intellectual quality is not something reserved for a few students. It is something that should be expected from all of them. So your teaching methodology or your teaching strategy should be such that all the students can get benefit out of it. So primary goal of outcome-based education to transform the students into graduates with full competence in their field of study, and who also possesses industry desired values and global citizen values. The two main purposes of OBE underlying the philosophy of success for all learners, ensuring that all learners are equipped with the knowledge, competence, and qualities needed to be successful after they exit their educational system. Structuring and operating schools so that those outcomes can be achieved and maximized for all learners. Now, this is all about theoretical aspects about OBE. Now, I would like to touch upon the different character traits for having a very robust objective-based education system. And that may be applicable to teachers as well as students. Now, what are these character traits for a scientific mind? All these character traits are required to be a good teacher or a good student to learn. Ambitious, they have to be assertive, they have to be hardworking, risk takers, persevering, team player, because you cannot do something alone or achieve an objective alone. People oriented, leadership capabilities, logical, competitive, everything. But three very important attributes which are very helpful, or the three character traits which opens more doors, are curious, courageous, and creative. Like Albert Einstein said, I have no special talent, I am only passionately curious. Unless you are curious about your learning objective, you will not be able to achieve much about what is given to you and what you need to learn and how you want to execute those learnings. Now, you may be curious, but you should not, there may not be enough courage to go to the next level and learn more. Nothing in life is to be feared, it is to be understood, said Marie Curie. Means, once you are curious to learn more, you should jump into that and deep dive into that learning ocean in order to uncover more and more about those about which you want to learn. Third is the creativity part. So unless you do it creatively, you may end up in a very big ocean and not understand or not gather enough understanding about the objective learning which you want to achieve at the end of the curriculum. So creativity is seeing the same thing but thinking a little differently. So you have to be flexible in order to implement your own style or your own way of learning. Maybe for some people, theoretical learning and making notes or making some scribblings is very valuable. Some people are more visual. They touch, feel, and do more practical things, do prototyping, and be innovative that way. So creativity in your learning process is also a very key attribute which you should execute. Three things working together in synergy actually makes magic. I will give you a few quick examples about the 3Cs. There is a big periodic table. All the students are exposed to this periodic table when they go for learning in chemistry. Now, periodic table gives you some basic knowledge about the elements. Like hydrogen is termed as H. It has some particular atomic weight. You know, two hydrogen atoms combine to form a hydrogen molecule. Oxygen is another element which has certain informations, very basic informations. Now, there is another molecule which is water, and water is a molecule which is very essential for your living. Without water, you will die. But when you are going into chemistry learning, you should start being curious more and more about this very simple molecule, which is the elixir of life. Now, somebody who is more curious will actually go a little bit deep into the molecule part and understand that between hydrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen, there is a bond angle of 104.45 degrees. Now, the bond length between oxygen and hydrogen is 95.84 picometer. Why is this angle? Why is this angle? If you ask more and more questions, you will end up learning more and more, because oxygen has two lone pairs, and lone pair bond pair and lone pair interactions actually end up water in having a bond angle between hydrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen at 104.45 degrees. Now, another thing is carbon. So when carbon comes in, a new dimension comes up. Carbon, hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, and oxygen, hydrogen bonds actually create new molecules. The base molecule, as we know, coming from natural gas is methanol. And methanol has so much attached to it. It can form, it can be oxidized, it can be forming formalin, which is formaldehyde. Then it can actually make adhesives, it can make a lot of chemical products, and so on and so forth. So learning is a never-ending thing, and more you're curious about learning, you get to know more, but in a very objective way. You should know what exactly you want out of this learning. Similarly, once you go down and down into this whole chemistry, you learn more how industry is using it, where ethyl alcohol is being used, where the ether is being used, and so on and so forth. So let's take an example of water. Water everywhere and not a drop to drink. This is a Samuel Coleridge's poem. But why is so? Has anybody asked the question directly after listening to this phrase, why is water not drinkable? So much of water is around you is often not clean and not safe enough to drink. What makes water potable, keeping the natural nutrients and composition intact? What is another question a curious mind should ask. How does water convert into ice and form such beautiful crystals in an all-natural environment is to be found. So how actually water makes those crystals is another question a curious mind should ask. So now that you're curious, do you have the courage to know the why, what, and how about water? Yes, there is so much of information which is there. Why water is not potable, why water, brackish water cannot be used for drinking, why saline water, the world is full of water, but why can't we drink that water? What will happen if I drink that water directly from the ocean? So all these plethora of information is there, but you need to have the curiosity to know, and you should be very objective in your process of learning to know what is required to give you the best possible tool in order to achieve your ultimate objective learning. Some more about water and what is happening in the innovation space. So nothing is stopping you from learning more and more about water if you are passionate about this subject. And so there is a big project of desalination project which is happening in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and they are actually converting the ocean water into potable water using different technologies which are now very high end. What is ice and how it can be used creatively? So you can see ice crystals are beautiful, and there is one innovator in Ladakh, and he is the famous Three Idiots innovator, Sonam Wangchuk. And he has actually created these ice pyramids. Ladakh is suffering from probably the worst water crisis. And it is not an understatement. The exponential rise in tourist footfall, allied with receding glaciers, is casting a dark shadow in the present future. So Wangchuk has managed to raise so much fund and created a 64-feet ice stupa. Now this is a technology behind it, and it because he learned a lot about ice, he has been able to do this in the high altitude of Ladakh, and they will be using this water as a potable water in time of crisis. So his learning, his education is complete because he has an ultimate objective of solving a very big issue for those people at the high altitude. And he has actually achieved that objective through his learning, through his innovation, and that's how objective-based education will help all of you in order to achieve your ultimate goal or success. Thank you.
So now I request anyone, if you have any queries, please unmute yourself to ask any questions or write it in the chat box, please.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I'm Suchitra. I'm from Andhra University, Visakhapatnam.
Hi, Suchitra. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Your presentation was very good, I should say, and it was the simplest one so far that we could easily understand without, having to go through all the technical terms and all that. And your end of the presentation example was also very good about the curiosity part.
Yeah.
Thank you. When I'm a chemical engineer, sir, when I was teaching the chapter on water in the environmental sciences, the students were like just listening. None of them were so curious as to ask all your questions. But I can see that, it's as a teacher my responsibility to change that and to make them more curious about it. So maybe next time I can implement whatever I have learned in FDP to do that. So, my question is, how to make a student aware of all the outcomes and everything before the start of, when we are starting the syllabus? When
it's a very good question, Sujitra, and I think the best tool is the visual tool. Okay. The student should know exactly where he or she is going to perform at the end of his learning, his or her learning. So if they are into a chemical engineering course, the very curriculum should actually first give them a very orientation program on what is the outcome of their learning, where they're going to perform at the end of the day. When some actors are going through a rehearsal, they should know where they should perform, what stage they should perform the play, and what their role, in individual actors' role, will be in order to make the play a very big success to the audience. So the whole world, the industry in which they are going to play is the audience, and they are the actors. If you think like this, then the visualization of the whole thing, where the teachers also and the mentors, the institute, they play a vital role in giving them the big picture of what is happening. So there are numerous tools and there are numerous videos. Now YouTube is with everybody. They should know exactly how things are happening. So if I'm an automobile engineer, I'm going through the course, I should know how the robotics and everything is controlling the automobile factory, and how there are 2,000, 3,000 small parts which are getting actually assembled together by a robotic hand in a big factory. If they don't have this visualization, if they don't know what is the big challenge or opportunity, I should say, in which they will be put after 4 years of their engineering course, I think it's very difficult for them also to objectively define their outcome of learning. And I think the best method is prototyping. The best method is giving visual tools to make them understand to what level they should scale themselves up during the course in order to achieve their big goals at the end of the course.
That's a very different suggestion, sir. I mean, nobody gave me this kind of suggestion. Everyone was like, write them on the boards. You explain to them in English and they should understand. And I was like, how can you make a child understand something that is completely new to him without giving any kind of audiovisual support? So what you said is very good, sir. I mean, definitely I will be implementing that with my students and see how it goes, because most of my students, they don't have any understanding of the outcomes. They just blindly copy them in their notebook, and they are like, when the feedback time comes, they just put random tick marks.
Yes,
without
yes.
understanding.
See, also the love for the subject will develop there. See, when the child is looking at your World Cup football,
Yes.
a Brazil or a Spain, they are playing, and there are a lot of technical things. It's not very difficult for them to actually learn all those things and understand how the strategy of one team is compared to other. So
Yes.
see, they love it. They just passionately watch football, and they want to become. If they want to become good footballers in future, they will learn from it. Now, the similar thing, you have to make them love the subject. You have to make them see what is the big picture and where world is going with their particular subject, and that's very important. I think the teachers and the mentors, the institute has to play a very vital role in making objective based education a big in their mind.
Yes, sir. I totally agree with you, especially with the curiosity part, where we have to keep the curiosity alive, where they have to eagerly wait for the next class and keep on discussing that this class was very good. Okay, so let's wait for the next class. What else is the teacher going to teach?
Yes.
So thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful session.
You're welcome.
It would
My
be
pleasure.
lovely if you shared the PPT and maybe any contact with the organizers, so that we can further contact you.
Yeah, absolutely. I will be more than happy. I will send it to Krishna Mohan.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you again, once again, for the wonderful sessions.
Thank you.
Any other questions, please? Meanwhile, I'm sharing a link to the chat box. It's a feedback link, and
Sir, you are on mute.
thank you, ma'am. And we have shared a feedback form link in our chat box. As we are winding up this faculty development program, we would request you to give your suggestions and some comments about the outcome-based education 1 week webinars.
We should be giving the feedback in the feedback form, sir?
Yes, please. Please fill out that form. And there are a couple of questions in regards to your suggestions for the future webinars.
Okay. Sir, can I just thank the organizers, that is you and I guess Thiru sir and Fatima ma'am and Aishwarya ma'am. You have been wonderful hosts, and see, FDP is all about faculty development, and definitely I have developed myself through this program, because I don't know how much the others were felt about this, but I was like the one who has got the full everything from this. You helped us meet great speakers like Suman sir, and it started off very well with the psychology session from Dr. Mohammed sir and it was very good. Overall, I can say that starting from how a teacher should feel in the class, how a student should react in the class, and again ending with the curiosity part that Suman sir has given us. So I'm really thankful for the IFERP to organize this FDP. Thank you very much once again, sir.
Really, thank you, ma'am, for giving your opinion about this webinar, and it's really feeling us to work a little bit more on creating as such similar webinars in our future. And we have similar, as I highlighted today morning, that we do run faculty development programs and student development programs. And again, we also support people to do some research work, so we can assist in research and having a patent to do their patent registrations. But these are something which we are focusing on, and we have been working to find out the best speakers and to organize as such webinars. So again, I request you to put out the suggestions if you want to make any changes to the future of webinars. And any further
Excuse me, sir.
suggestions or opinion? Yes, ma'am, please.
Yeah, myself, Dr. Shubha Joshi, sir. I am from Karad. It was a very wonderful program. I think I have attended a lot of this in this whole week from our college. Because this was suddenly, you had already fixed the date. We could not help with many of our doctors attending. And few of them, after attending, they felt this is too much of engineering also. That was one problem with us, and we had to manage our clinical aspect also in the working hours. So that was a problem from our end, but I think we will go ahead with IFERP again. We will join hands again in your coming sessions also. I am also aware about your conferences, but probably that is again mostly for engineering, the conferences that are going on.
Oh, thank you. But I would like to highlight, we also have mix and IFERP. We have both different conferences. One works for medical conferences right now in Chennai. We are running cardiometabolic congress conference as well. But
Okay.
IFERP is purely based on engineering development.
Yes. Yes.
Biologics is for medical.
Yes. Yes.
But yes, we also have different chapters to support with. The chapters which are different topics. For example, as you said, you're into medical field, and there is also a different subject to the medical. So we also have such webinars focusing on one particular topic. We will try to organize such webinars, and we will let you know so that you can also join your hands again.
Yes. No, we had like the research area and all we have seen, sir. We have heard. So that was also helpful for us. Our university is very much into research. So that was a bit helpful for us. And thank you, sir. Thank you to Thiru sir also. I have troubled him a lot.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your kind words.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
sir. Very well organized, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. We are here to organize such events as much better we can do. We will do the best.
Thank you.
And thank you, sir, once again. And it was really interesting, as the system said, and it's much more knowledgeable session as well. On behalf of IFERP and everyone here today, I thank for taking your time to speak to us on outcome-based education. And thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I extend my sincere thanks to all the members who have participated in this 1 week outcome-based program. I believe this program helped to bring clarity to the students and the teachers. It is obvious that every student has the flexibility and freedom to learn in their own methods, which reduce comparison among the students because everyone has a different target. We understood that there are various methods of learning that completely involve students taking responsibility for their own goals. and we would like to share the upcoming scientific conferences and events organized by IFERP. International Conference on Exploring Colossal Political Advance of 21st Century in Science and Engineering and Technology on 13th and 14th August 2022 at Abu Dhabi. Asia Pacific Conference on Education, Research and Social Science and Humanities on 7th and 8th September at Bangkok. And Future International Conference on Future of Engineering on 22nd and 23rd September 2022 at Philippines. We have shared the post and link in the chat box for your reference. You could join this conference virtually. Looking forward to meeting you all there, and thank you all from Krishna Academy and Institute of Engineering Research and Publication. Thank you, everyone. And with your permission, I'm going to end the session right now. And please do follow us through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We all sharing all our latest updates in our social media sites. You can find us in typing IFERP, where we have regular updates about technology, the latest technologies, and upcoming conferences and other events. So please do subscribe, and we will share you the latest updates on time. Thank you, everyone, again. I'm ending the session right now. Thank you very much.